rubber Spaldings we girls bounced for hours on the sidewalk. Then I painted them with tempera and hung them on pipe cleaners and string. My model, more like a dollhouse than a scientific demonstration, failed to give any real sense of the planet's relative sizes or the enormous distances between them. By rights, I should have used a basketball for Jupiter to show how it dwarfed all the others. And I should have mounted everything in a giant carton from a washing machine or a refrigerator, the better to approximate the solar system's grandiose dimensions. Fortunately, my crude diorama, produced with a complete lack of artistic skill, did not kill my beautiful visions of Saturn suspended in the perfect symmetry of its spinning rings, or the mutating patterns on the Martian landscape, which were attributed, in scientific reports of the 1950s, to seasonal cycles of vegetation. After the science fair, my class staged a planet's play. I got the part of Lonely Star because the script called for that character to wear a red cape, and I had one, left over from a Halloween costume. As Lonely Star, I soliloquized the sun's wish for companionship, which the planet actors granted by joining up with me, each in a speech admitting his own peculiarities. The play's most memorable performances were delivered by Saturn, who twirled 2 hula hoops while reciting her lines, and the Earth, plump and self-conscious, yet forced to announce matter-of-factly, "I am 24,000 miles around my middle." Thus was the statistic of our Earth's circumference indelibly impressed upon me. Note that we always said the Earth in those days. The Earth did not become Earth until after I came of age and the moon changed from a nightlight to a destination. My role as Lonely Star helped me appreciate the sun's relationship to the planets as parent and guide. Not for nothing is our part of the universe called the solar system, in which each planet's individual makeup and traits are shaped in large measure by proximity to the sun. I had omitted the sun from my diorama because I hadn't understood its power, and besides, it would have posed an impossible problem of scale. Another reason for leaving out the sun, and likewise the moon, was the bright familiarity of both objects, which seemed to render them regular components of the Earth's atmosphere, whereas the planets were glimpsed only occasionally, either before bedtime or in a still, dark, early morning sky, and therefore more highly prized. On our class trip to the Hayden Planetarium, we city kids saw an idealized night sky, liberated from the glare of traffic signals and neon lights. We watched the planets chase each other around the heavens of the dome. We tested the relative strength of gravity with trick scales that told how much we'd weigh on Jupiter, 400 pounds and more for a normal-sized teacher, or Mars, featherweights all. And we gawked at the sight of the 15-ton meteorite that had fallen from out of the blue over Oregon's Willamette Valley, posing a threat to human safety that few of us had thought to fear. The Willamette meteorite, still on permanent display at what is now the Rose Center of Earth in Space, was said to be, incredibly, the iron-nickel core of an ancient planet once in orbit around the Sun. That world had shattered somehow several billion years back, setting its fragments adrift in space. Chance had nudged this particular piece toward the Earth, where it hurtled down to the Oregon ground at tremendous speed, burning up from the heat of friction, and hitting the valley floor with the impact of an atom bomb. Later, as the meteorite lay still over eons, the acidic rains of the Pacific Northwest chewed large holes in its charred and rusted hulk. Here was a primal scene to upset my innocent planet ideas. This dark, evil invader had no doubt consorted in space with hordes of other stray rocks and metal chunks that might strike the Earth at any moment. My solar system home, till that moment a paragon of clockwork regularity, had turned into a disorderly, dangerous place. The launch of Sputnik in 1957, when I was 10, scared me to death. As a demonstration of foreign military strength, it gave new meaning to the school-wide air raid drills in which we crouched under our desks for pretended safety, our backs to the windows. Clearly, we still had more to dread from angry fellow humans than from wayward space rocks. All through my teens and 20s, as the country realized the young president's dream of a rocket to the moon, clandestine rockets in missile silos kept collective nightmares alive. But by the time the Apollo astronauts brought back their last batch of moon rocks in December 1972, peaceful, hopeful spaceships had landed also on Venus and Mars, and another, the U.S. Pioneer 10, was en route to a Jupiter flyby. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, hardly a year passed without an unmanned excursion to another planet. Images radioed home to Earth by robot explorers painted detail upon detail on the planet's long blank faces. Whole new entities came to light, too, as spacecraft encountered literally dozens of new moons at Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, as well as multiple rings around all four of those planets. Even though Pluto remained unexplored, deemed too distant and too difficult to visit, its own unexpected moon was discovered accidentally in 1978 through careful analysis of photographs taken by ground-based telescopes. Had my daughter, born in 1981, attempted her own diorama of the revised and expanded solar system when she turned 8, she would have needed handfuls of jelly beans and jawbreakers to model the many recent additions. My son, 3 years her junior, might have opted to model his on our home computer. Despite the increased population of the solar system, its planets stayed stable at 9, at least through 1992. That year, a small, dark body, independent of Pluto, was detected on the solar system's periphery. Similar discoveries soon followed, until the total number of diminutive outliers grew to 700 over the ensuing decade. The abundance of mini-worlds made some astronomers wonder whether Pluto should continue to be regarded as a planet, or reclassified as the largest of the trans-Neptunian objects. The Rose Center has already excluded Pluto from the planetary roll call. In 1995, only 2 years after the first of Pluto's numerous neighbors was found, something even more remarkable came to light. It was a bona fide new planet, of another star. Astronomers had long suspected that stars other than the Sun might have their own planetary systems, and now the first one had surfaced at 51 Pegasi in the constellation of the Flying Horse. Within months, other exoplanets, as the newly discovered extrasolar planets were quickly dubbed, turned up at stars such as Upsilon Andromedae, 70 Virginis b, and PSR 1257 plus 12. At least 160 additional exoplanets have since been identified, and refinements in discovery techniques promise to uncover many more in the near future. Indeed, the number of planets in our Milky Way galaxy alone may far exceed its complement of 100 billion stars. My old familiar solar system, once considered unique, now stands as merely the first known example of a popular genre. As yet, no exoplanets have been imaged directly through a telescope, so their discoverers are left to imagine what they look like. Only their sizes and orbital dynamics are known. Most of them rival giant Jupiter in heft because large planets are easier to find than small ones. Indeed, the existence of exoplanets is deduced from their effect on their parent star. Either the star wobbles as it yields to the gravitational attraction of unseen companions, or it periodically dims as its planets pass in front and impede its light. Small exoplanets, the size of Mars or Mercury, must also orbit distant suns, but being too tiny to perturb a star, they elude detection from afar. Already planetary scientists have appropriated the name Jupiter as a generic term, so that a Jupiter means a